In this video, I'm going to talk about 4 strategies teens can use to resolve their condition called Functional Neurological Disorder, short for FND. So let's dive in. Hi, my name is Dr. Lee. I'm a pediatric health psychologist and a teen FND specialist. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about 4 strategies specific to teenagers, adolescents who are struggling with functional neurological disorder that includes non-epileptic seizures. So strategy number 1, your teen really needs to know what FND is. I cannot emphasize enough that you need to know what you're dealing with if you want to solve the problem, right? So what is FND? FND is an umbrella term to describe these crosswired problems between the brain and the body, even though your teen's brain and body are physiologically and structurally quote unquote fine. It is a real diagnosis. Very common diagnosis you would actually get in neurology clinic, even though nobody seems to know what the heck this is. Well, there's so many different reasons why, but FND is a biopsychosocial phenomenon. It's not just one thing that is causing. It's not just stress or trauma. In fact, the trauma or stress is not even required to get the diagnosis of FND. So if you're still insisting there's got to be a trauma and I need to see my therapist to work on this trauma, so this FND is going to go away. Guess what? Not so much. However, prognosis-wise, it's really, really good for teen FND. If you are a teenage child who is struggling with FND, your chance of getting better completely, like being done with completely getting rid of FND is over 90%. As long as you take a right approach and go through all of these strategies that I'm going to be talking about. And a lot of times I get the questions, well, I think I'm getting better, so I'm just going to see how it goes. Well, here's the deal. FND doesn't really get better on its own, usually speaking. Now, that being said, there is this thing called spontaneous recovery. So this is where you're not really doing anything, but you just get better. So suddenly, miraculously, when you wake up the next morning, you're fine. Like you feel like you're 100%. Like all of these symptoms are gone. And a lot of families are so excited and like literally like a tear of joy because, oh my gosh, this is better, which is great news. However, if you didn't do anything strategically with intention and with the right approach, 2/3, so over 60% of the teens who got better, this is spontaneous recovery, they come back. And when they come back with vengeance. And also, prognosis is really, really high. However, there's a caveat to it because the longer you wait to take the right approach to heal from FND, the chances are you're going to be having really, really difficult time to get better completely. And sadly, when you turn adult, typically speaking, adults with FND, their prognosis is not that great. I mean, you can definitely function better and live, kind of like learn to live with it. I don't want to say this is a permanent thing. However, if you're a teen, this is it. The more severe, the longer you wait, the more severe it will get. And therefore, the time is really your enemy. Okay. And I don't mean to like scare you or anything. I'm just stating the fact. So that's strategy 1. You really need to know what FND is. Strategy 2, your teen really needs to believe you can resolve FND. What that means is FND is curable as long as you work towards resolving the condition, because it's not really going away on its own, kind of like a cavity, so you have to work for it. Right? And it really starts with believing that you're going to get better, especially for teens, because prognosis is really, really high, as I mentioned, like over 90%. And the cure for FND, unfortunately, there's no quick fix, there's no magic pill, or there's like no small tips here and there. It requires you to literally retrain your brain and body, because their FND is a miscommunication network problem between the brain and the body. Therefore, you need to undo that and then retrain your brain and body. So it takes a hot minute. However, you have to start believing that you're going to get better. Not like, oh, I know I'm going to get better. I just not going to do anything about it. Not going to work out. However, you have to believe. Okay. So that being said, if there is a doubt, it usually comes from fear, confusion, or layers of questions. Like you don't really know what's going on. There are so many things that you want to ask. Like, oh my gosh, okay, I just need to figure this out, kind of thing, right? If that's the case, you have to deal with those things by knowing what really FND is to begin with. That's why the strategy number 1 is for you to get to know what FND is. Number 2, again, is the belief system. And you as a team can have some doubts when you start this healing journey. That's okay. I have had a lot of teens who had these doubts and hope, kind of mixture of both, but that's okay. As long as you are hopeful and as long as you believe that you're going to get better, that is a good place to start. But if you think this is something I'm going to be having for the rest of my life, so I just need to learn to live with it, then guess what? Your wish will be granted. You are going to live like this for the rest of your life. Guaranteed. That's why knowing what FND is and having this belief system, I just don't know how, but I believe I'm going to get better. That is good enough. Okay. So it really goes back to this fundamental of knowing what it is and yes, I can do this. All right. So that's strategy number 2. So strategy number 3, this is where it gets a little bit tactical. So stay with me. Okay. You as a team needs to set a goal. And when I say goal, it's not just getting rid of FND. I mean, that's your North Star. Absolutely. No matter what, getting rid of FND is the goal. That is absolutely fine. I'm talking about a little bit down towards the earth. Okay. So what am I talking about? Focusing on daily functioning. So thinking about this, improving functioning level is really the key to success to get rid of FND, right? So in order for you to get better, you kind of have to pivot a little bit and focus on things like this. What did you stop doing because of FND? And what do you want to get back to? So I have 3 examples, and of course, it's not just these 3 examples, but here are the things. What about school? Social activities, any other fun activities, sports, or just to be normal? What are the things that you stopped doing because of FND? Think about that. And your improvement moving forward is 100% measured by that activity level that you set as a goal. So it's not just about the symptoms. In fact, you and your parents really need to stop focusing on this symptom status, meaning you're going to get sucked into this vicious cycle of this endless treadmill. I guarantee you, when you have this clipboard, whether literally physical or mental, and just counting on how many times did I have an episode? How long was my episode? How many days has it been since my legs are paralyzed? That kind of thing. If you are constantly focusing on the symptom and you're just focusing on the symptom status as a measure of improvement, like my frequency is better, I am not having as many episodes as I used to be, that kind of thing. Sure, celebrate that. We'll take anything. However, moving forward, again, this is a strategy. Your improvement is 100%, not 99.9% or 10%. 100% measured by the activity level. That's why it's really, really important, imperative to focus on the daily functioning as a goal. All right. And then once you have that, then you're going to have to do a little bit of reverse engineering the steps by focusing on getting back to that thing that you want to get back to. All right. So number 1, where is your current status? Like, are you not going to school at all? Are you doing any social activities or any sports or any fun stuff or feeling like normal? On a scale of 0 to 100%, 100% is yes, I am back to my life with or without FND symptoms. 0 is like I am in bed all day, every day, and then there is 0 life. So where are you today? That is where you want to focus on, okay? And then once you have that, and then you have the goal, okay, my goal is to get back to like 90% at least, or my goal is to get back to 100% of the functioning, not the symptoms, okay? Doing the thing, then you come up with a 4-week, I would say, return to life plan, okay? So here are a few things. Every day is a new day. That's a mindset. Remember, in order for you to get rid of FND, it's really about retraining your brain and body, right? So again, it really starts with the mindset of, yes, I'm going to get better. And every day is a new day for you to challenge yourself, all right? Number 2, Every day, you as a team, speaking of challenge something new and you're gonna commit to it. So what would that look like? Even on a terrible day, you're going to be getting up at the same time in the morning, whatever the time that you set up, no matter how you feel. That could be your challenge for the day. And second example would be, no matter what, you would be going to school for at least one class, or even to the entrance, or even just to, I don't know, spend time with your friends during lunch. Whatever it is, small increment at a time, no matter how you feel. And number 3 is something about getting active. So it could be something like walking around the house for 10 minutes, no matter how you feel. So those are just a small examples of what you can do to commit yourself every single day to challenge yourself. I like to think of it as like a 1% everyday improvement. And this is something I talk about in my online program, Teen FND Academy, all the time. Your motivation isn't going to be like a linear and then straight and then 100% on all the time. We all have good days and bad days. In fact, the recovery of FND is 100% guaranteed, up and down, feeling like a roller coaster. So you kind of have to get ready for that too, right? But even then, your North Star closer to your Earth is, I'm going to get back to school. I'm going to get back to playing this sports. I'm going to get back to playing with my friends. I'm going to get back to driving. I'm going to be like other teenagers, just like my friends, kind of thing, right? So again, as long as you have that goal, then that becomes your motivation, even on a bad day. Therefore, you can challenge 1% every day for micro improvement, all right? Now, while you're doing that, you can't just do go and crash and burn. So you're going to have to incorporate something called activity pacing. So it's a fancy name for taking pre-programmed breaks, a lot of mini eye-brain breaks based on the time or segment of your activity rather than your energy level. So if you're waiting until I feel tired, my pain is bad, I don't feel good, listen, it's too late at that point, at this juncture of your healing journey. Therefore, you're going to have to force yourself to, well, I don't feel tired, or I feel fine. Force yourself to take a break. So you're constantly mini charging, basically. All right. Again, you're going to have to retrain your brain and body the cue to take a break by doing this pacing. All right. And while you're doing that, when I say a 4-week return to life plan, you kind of have to each week increase the activity level slightly. Okay. By a small increment over time or a segment or whatever you're doing. So it could be getting up at the same time and no napping. That would be additional, okay? Or you going to school for one class, now it's becoming 2 class. So you're not going to be doing any more of this. I'm going to go to school as long as I can on Monday, like let's just say full day. Wow, great. You crash and burn Monday night, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you don't go to school at all. And then Friday, you barely go to school, maybe half day or something like that. That is way too much up and down. So regardless of how you feel, you're going to be there consistently, even though you feel okay on some days. That is the consistency and the retraining the cue for you to rebuild the foundation and then get back up. All right. So now the walking around the house for 10 minutes, maybe the next step is 15 minutes, maybe next step is like 20 minutes and stuff like that. Right. So you're basically increasing the activity level, and by time or segment or chunks or whatever you want to call it, depending on what you're doing. And then you would be taking a lot of pre-programmed breaks. There are different schools of thought. Some researchers and providers would say, no. Do graded exposure, meaning like, increasing your activity level no matter what. You would do that. And then others will say, oh no, don't do that. Pacing is the key. So keep taking a lot of breaks and continue to do like an hour, 2 hour, half day, that kind of thing. But all you need to do is to increase the amount of breaks that you're taking. The reality is with teen FND, you kind of have to do both. All right. So that is where I would start. That would be strategy number 3. Okay. Again, it's combination of activity pacing and graded exposure, meaning like increasing the increment slightly each week. and having that goal and then figuring out where you are. So find the gap and then reverse engineer from that. So that would be strategy 3. Strategy 4, your teen, you really need to rebalance the autonomic nervous system. Now, part of the brain training is the rebalancing the autonomic nervous system. So if you're kind of scrolling down the TikTok or Instagram, you would see a lot of this like autonomic nervous system regulation strategies and things like that. Technically, it's like up regulation and down regulation, both. You kind of need to do that. However, the caveat is this is not just the only thing you have to do. Like for example, strategy 1, I talked about, you have to know what FND is. It's no longer trauma or stress or anxiety thing. It is a biopsychosocial phenomenon. And yes, your prognosis, like the percentage or the odds of you getting better completely is really, really high. So don't believe when the doctor said, yeah, you have to live like this for the rest of your life, especially if you're a teenage, okay? Number 2, again, the mindset, right? You have to know that you're going to get better. Number 3, all these fancy strategies, the 4-week return to life plan, and you have to do the retraining the brain by regulating your nervous system, okay? And again, there's so much more to it, but these are the high level big things that you can do. So what does that mean? Re-regulating the nervous system, right? So upregulation and downregulation, what are they? So basically upregulation is when you're feeling kind of frozen and disconnected and withdraw, usually that's FND, then you kind of have to uplift yourself, right? To be present and have joy and fun and, stuff like that. So anything that is uplifting, fun, joyful activities, I would say take it, as long as they're safe, healthy, and your parents are okay with that. Now, within that, there are 2 different categories. One is internal, and then the other one is external. So internal is basically something that you can do on your own without needing anything or anyone to do it for you or with you. So the example of upregulation strategies internal would look something like thinking about the list of places to go, so you can kind of think about, what would make you feel happy and then joyful and super excited, right? You can dance. Did you know that dance is the number 1 thing, or I should say the best physical activity you can do to turn down the volume of either the pain, fatigue level, like super tired, or FND symptoms. So, or you can do just casual walking, gentle walking, stretch, whatever that would like kind of activate you. Or you could even like go for hiking, stuff like that. And then external of the uplifting strategy would be eating something super sour, spicy, like something that gives you a jolt, or going to a concert, or listening to uplifting music, having fun with your friends, no matter what that it would look like, right? Or you can even watch a super exciting movies, things like that. Okay. The sky's the limit. Use your creativity and then use what you know already that makes you feel happy and joyful and then sort of uplifting. Those are up-regulation strategies. Now, the down-regulation strategy is not like you're going to feel down, but it's more like anything that is calming, soothing, or relaxing activities. Again, within that, there is internal and external. So internal would be slow breathing. Don't do the deep breathing for one last time. Do the slow breathing. You can even blow out the pinwheel if you want to, or bubbles, just make it fun and like just kind of, playful, right? I love self-hypnosis. This works so well. If you can imagine that you're in a certain place or imagine that you're having fun, then you are naturally talented at self-hypnosis. If you're like, I can't think of anything, nothing comes up, well, I will tell you that is a sign that your nervous system is disconnected, okay? There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that you need to reconnect, right? By training yourself. So this might be a perfect time to practice that. So self-hypnosis, and I have a video about that in my channel as well. Grounding techniques, so you can be on a barefoot on, like on the grass or something like that, right? Or you can just focus on 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can smell, that kind of thing. So focusing on the 5 senses, you can absolutely do that if that would help you to feel grounded, okay? And many of my teens that I work with, not merely my teens, but the teens I work with, They love using progressive muscle relaxation. So you would gently, squeeze and increase your muscle tension, and then for a few seconds, like 3 to 4 seconds, and then just let it go. So you do that, like do this, like multiple times, okay? And then you want to spend more time on relaxing or releasing the muscle tension more so than tensing up. But this is really another way of you becoming self-aware of your body. So those are the examples of internal down regulation strategies. So what could be the external thing? It could be reading, writing. I love weighted blanket and weighted plush and weighted stuffed animal. I don't know if you can see my Winston back there. And you can listen to calm music. You can also listen to meditation app. You can do meditation on your own, and that could be in the internal category because you don't really need to have anything. All you need is you, right? But you can use an app to listen to a meditation. That's fine too. And you can even also watch calming or relaxing or like that kind of show, right? So the upregulation strategies, shows, movies, and TVs would be like comedy, I don't know, like a rom-com, like something funny and silly. And the soothing would be, I don't know, some sort of like inspiring, movie, or kind of like, I don't know, like, I don't want to say old movies, but like the shows that you have been watching over and over again that you know what's going to happen exactly. So it doesn't like pump up your adrenaline, like what's going to happen, but you just like, oh yeah, it's familiar. Yes, I know, that kind of thing, right? So that could be that. So sometimes the same show or same thing that you're listening to or watching or doing things can be both uplifting and soothing at the same time. So you don't have to be bogged down on, which one is which, kind of thing, but just kind of go with the intuition and then work on what works for you. And you might have to do this discovery thing, like trial and error sometimes, but you kind of know like what you like generally gravitating towards. I will tell you as a bonus, what is not considered autonomic nervous system regulation strategies. Lots of sleeping, lots of scrolling down your mindless social media posts and things like that. And I would imagine that you're watching either this video on my YouTube channel, or if you're a parent, then probably you're watching this on my Facebook group. But again, this mindless, thing. And anything that is not really mindful, then that would not be considered a nervous system regulation strategies. You might chalk it up to, I'm just distracting myself. Distraction isn't necessarily the solution either, because you are moving away from being connected by distracting yourself, which again is not the way to rebalance your autonomic nervous system to begin with, right? So again, list it out, all the things that would help you either upregulating or uplifting or make you laugh and joyful and excited, or downregulating. And this is where you would feel calm, soothing, and relaxing, things like that. And then really circle which one is internal and then which one is external, and do the combination of uplifting and then down soothing techniques and strategies every single day, no matter what. This is literally the foundation building up. It doesn't necessarily matter what kind of FND symptoms you are having. It could be functional seizures, it could be paralysis, it could be twitch and tics, and it could be vision, all of that stuff. So think of all of these symptoms as branches of a tree. So you don't really water or fertilize per branch, you know what I mean? Like, so you would just focus on the root, of having the enough sunlight and enough water, so then it'll continue to grow no matter how many branches you have. You don't get like, I don't know, panicky, like, oh my gosh, now there's a new branch over here. Oh my gosh, now there's a new branch over here, and I don't know what to do. Maybe I need to like have more sunlight over here and then less sunlight. You don't really do that. Like, just chill out. Overall, if it's really, really, extreme, that's something to think about. However, when it comes to FND symptoms, all of these strategies are going to be universally helping, because at the end of the day, FND is a biopsychosocial phenomena, but more importantly, it's the retraining of brain and the body. So that starts with maybe the strategy for of regulating your nervous system. However, this is not going to work if your mindset is like, been there, done that. It's not going to work, or I'm going to be like this for the rest of my life. Oh, but my pain is really bad, so I can't do that. Well, like I said, start with strategy 1, 2, 3. Know what FND is. That includes chronic pain too, by the way. Number 2, mindset. And number 3, no matter how you feel, you are going to focus on getting back to your life while you're focusing, also practicing the strategy 4 of rebalancing the autonomic nervous system. And I know it's a high level, like what to do. If you want to know exactly how to do, and that is customized for your particular case, and then more, because there's a lot more to it than that, to resolve FND, like what to do with the parents, like they cannot ask these questions, but then they also need to be involved. How do you balance that? What do we do about school? They keep calling me, the parents, every time there's an episode, or they just keep calling 911, or they're not willing to work with us. All of these questions are going to be answered in my online program, Teen FND Academy, because I have worked with hundreds of teens who are struggling with this condition, and I cracked the code. When you do A through Z, this is how you're going to get better. So hopefully this is a good place for you to start implementing the literally proven methodology to get better, really starting with retraining your brain and the body. At the end of the day, the recovery really takes time, right? It's not just one magic pill or one and done, right? And then maybe you have done some of these things, but again, you might be doing the right thing, but are you doing it with the right mindset? Those are the things to think about, right? Especially if you're a teen struggling with this condition for quite some time. You're like, yes, I've seen like 10,000 therapists and then physical therapy and stuff like that. However, the longer you have been struggling, it might take a hot minute, to get better. That's the reality. And it's not really your fault, However, you can get better, okay? But you have to do the right kind of work that fits you to get better. So if you as a team continues to have this doubt and fear about getting better, so you're not quite putting the work, well, then what are you going to do, right? What can you do to get your fear and then doubt sort of taken care of so then you can move forward? Guess what? That's what I'm going to be covering in the next video. So stay tuned, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much.